Welcome to the richness of our lives. I'm Mary Scott, and this is where we celebrate the wisdom, courage, and stories that shape us. Every 2 weeks, I sit down with entrepreneurs, coaches, and remarkable people who've walked through fire and come out transformed. This isn't just about success. It's about the richness of the human experience. So grab a cup of tea, settle in, and let's dive deep. Hello and welcome to the Richness of Our Lives podcast. I'm your host, Mary Scott. Thank you for listening, and thank you also for subscribing and recommending these very rich, wonderful podcasts to your friends. And our guest today is no exception in terms of remarkable people. I have known this woman for 17 years, or should I say I've had the privilege of knowing her for 17 years. She is a very successful businesswoman. She loves her family to bits. Her values are right up there like no other. Her service in embodiment of service goes away above and beyond anything that we would be doing. Trust me, I know. I've seen it. I know it. She's a remarkable woman, and she's here today to share a very rich story. Welcome, Elle Fredricksen. How are you?
Oh, wow. Thank you, Mary. Wow. You have reduced me to tears, let's be honest. Such a beautiful intro, and I'm very heartfelt and filled with gratitude, Mary, that you've invited me to do this podcast along with you. I mean, yes, we met in 2008, and I clearly remember the experience. We had a year together. We got invited as a select few to study at Monash Uni, and boy, did we have some fun. And of course, you've been part of my cheerleading squad and my surrounding influences for all these years. And I'm very grateful for, people come into your life for a season, a reason and a lesson. And you definitely have come into my world for the right reasons. And you're definitely on my table of success. I'm very honoured that you've asked me today. And I hope I can share some wisdom from life experiences. As you get to 56, you've certainly had lots of experiences along the way. Some of them are good, bad and ugly, but they're all about taking us on this amazing journey of self-development and discovery and empowering and ensuring that we really do service to our highest level. That's what I'm up to.
Oh, that's fabulous. Well, becoming an entrepreneur at 23, like your entire life, you've probably always worked for yourself. Is that right?
Oh, yeah, I know. It's a bit funny, because yes, I have. I came from a family of educators, and they all were following. I'm an only child. Mum brought me up. And all of my family are teachers. They've all got some, polished education. And I was the black sheep going, I'm not doing all that stuff. I did a little bit of uni at the start and didn't really think it was for me. I love people rather than the bits of paper that it was on. And so I remember coming home, and saying, nah, not doing this. I'm going to leave that. And my very first entrepreneur journey was in party plan, direct selling. And it still makes me laugh, actually, because in those days we had a stainless steel kitchen and it was really hard to clean. And this Enyo product was around, and you just added cold water and cleaned stuff and everything sparkled. And anyway, I started with that for many years, and that was the start of my journey. And from that, the stepping stones unfolded as to how much I love personal development and how empowering my mind and that mindset became really evident at a young age. My kids would tell you if they were on this mess that they grew up on personal development books, not nursery rhymes, and they really would have liked at some point for mum to have turned the telly on and they could have watched The Simpsons and that, not their nose in a book. But anyway, that was the journey that I took away of how important empowerment of the mind is, especially as the world is changing forever. So it's really important to look after our mindset.
Oh, absolutely. And how rich is that, to just good old Enyo cloths. I remember those days. And Was the next business then Chef's Toolbox? Is that what you kicked in? You were the
Yeah,
director, one of the directors of that business.
yeah.
Very successful business, was it not?
Yeah, we did start that. I decided to have a baby. Mel, my youngest, she was born. And no joke, no longer had she just popped out that I met this guy and David Mills, the founder of the Chef's Toolbox. And yeah, decided no better time to start than having a baby and getting into a business. He basically, we met and he drew this business plan on a napkin at a coffee shop. And off we went. And 15 years later, made the top three. I was nominated. There was lots of nominations, Telstra Business Women's Award. And, we were turning over $10 million a year. And all of that was coming from the home. I did all the stuff online. And obviously we did.
Online,
Yeah.
online.
So,
What year was that you were doing it online? Let's just give
so
the audience a bit of an idea here.
So when I say online, sorry, the paperwork was all online, but we did physical party plan
Yep.
demonstrations from 2004 right through to 2018.
That's amazing.
And so, yeah, it was just incredible. And it really aligned with my values and the same value as I do have today, that the family unit, sitting down to a meal and turning devices off, the conversations that come from that are so empowering. And I feel that I made a really big impact. We were not only, it wasn't just the money that we were turning over and the money I was making, but how we were empowering lives, bringing the family unit back together. Even if it was a pizza that was getting made in the pan, the family was involved, they made it, they sat down, they opened conversation and had a chat. And I could tell you some amazing stories about units of families coming together. It's the only time they ever spoke was when, food was being prepared or served. And so that was amazing. I loved it. Did an enormous amount of travel. That helped my travel bug, of course. I still blame David on giving me the champagne taste buds because he introduced me to champagne all those years ago. And always a good bottle, of course. And so, yeah, we did that. And that also opened up an empowering part in my own family because with that, we got involved with serving the community. My family, we did cooking meals on a Wednesday night to the homeless. And we did that every Wednesday. That was incredibly empowering for. Actually, I received more than giving, to be honest, helping, hundreds and hundreds of families being able to put food on the table. And the stepping stone to that was we then travelled around at Christmas and we'd always spend 4 weeks a year in an Asian country in an orphanage. And we would fundraise through the year and then donate mostly six figures at Christmas to these orphanages and take the kids shopping, the experience of kids that you don't have, there's a language barrier, so you don't speak their language, they don't speak English. And you're taking them to get jeans and tops and clothes and food. And, they were the most amazing, empowering moments. And my kids still talk about that, how we got kids to eat ice cream when we forgot to buy, ice cream came in like a 50-litre tub. And the kids never eaten it before, but we forgot to get all like the cones or the cups that they had to eat it. So they were all like hanging around the 50-litre tub, eating it. So I've lived a very fulfilled life, helping others, very much serve. It's all about empowering others. So when you leave them better than you find them. And it's how you make people feel that embraces and empowers you to move forward.
Oh, yes. When you say we, so the girls, your gorgeous girls went with you to
Always,
these
yeah,
orphanages.
always.
And oh, how remarkable for them to grow up. Like that's just beautiful. I've never heard that story. And
Yeah.
it's just a gorgeous one. I had that image, 50-litre tub of ice cream and all these little mouths, trying to get the taste of. I've got a picture in my mind now that I don't know if I can actually take.
Yeah.
I think that's what I mean by you embody service. And what you're not saying to our audience is that feeding those people every Wednesday went on for 7 years. And
Mm.
it's fair to say You were probably there most Wednesdays, if not all Wednesdays. Is that correct?
Oh, of course. I love a chinwag, I love a gas bag, I love chatting to people, and everyone needs to have a sense of belonging, no matter what happens to you in life. And sometimes it's just that sliding door that things have happened that haven't gone their way. And I think if we're all honest and real with ourselves, Mez, that we've all had circumstances in our life that sliding doors have happened, but we've been fortunate enough to have someone to help us out. Um, and often people that are homeless don't have that someone to help them out and they end up in a situation. So, what is it for us to not give them time, to not sit and listen to their story, to not make them feel that they're equally important? We all have a heart, we've all got blood running through it. So, give them time.
Absolutely. Wow. Wow. And your values and your service. Like when I think of you, that's what I think of, a woman of strong values. And I think probably back then you were someone that introduced this whole notion to me, or the understanding, perhaps is better, of service. Where did that come from? Like, is that your mum's influence? Your rock?
Probably.
She was,
Yeah,
it
probably, man.
was a strong, strong presence in your life.
Yeah, I think our mum is my rock. She's still with us, just. Growing up as an only child and mum being a single mum um, in the 70s was not highly respected. There was no handouts, there's no money, there's no well, the honest truth, they sort of kicked mum out of the church because, she no longer had the husband. And so mum was very much alone. But when I say alone, she was filled with love and is still filled with love. So although we may not have had the bank balance that had lots of money in it, the love that she gave was outstanding. And I always remember that no matter what the situation was, as long as we had each other in love, the rest was all irrelevant, you know. And so service, I mean, mum's very blessed too. She's still having people that she's served all these years at 86 popping in to see her. She's fully demented, she's non-verbal, but I believe she knows that they're there.
Yeah.
But service is just, I don't know, I feel like if we could all just give a little bit, it would make the world such a nicer place. They went through the notion of be kind. Well, it's just a bigger version of being kind. Serve others, make them feel good. No one knows what's going on behind closed doors, let's be honest. So if you can make someone feel good and serve them, but also have boundaries in for yourself as well. So, there's definitely some learnings in that because I might have served a few people in my life a bit too much and been burnt, but I've learnt that I also need to create boundaries as well. And not just give my entire world to people, but also create that boundary so that I can have my cup filled. Because you can't pour from an empty one, hey? So it's
No.
really important.
That's lovely. Speaking of that, you've been burnt and your kindness and your, I'm going to add openness, has cost you in some cases quite dearly. How have you got up, shook yourself off and recovered? You've had some pretty adverse times in your life.
Yeah, I have, Bez.
About
I
that.
think,
How do you get up again, Al?
well, I'm honest and I'm real. Look, some days are harder than others, but I guess my pain is, sorry, my purpose is bigger than my pain. That's how it comes. Like I've created legacy now. And look, I'm learning things that I didn't even think I'd be learning at, 58. I'm basically doing a health degree, created this aged care phenomenal business, which I'm super proud of. But that came from pain at the start, But, I guess someone once said to me, Mez, we're born on a date, we die on a date, but the big thing is the gap in between. And
Yeah.
what do we do with the gap in between? what, me lying in bed isn't going to help the gap, is it? Like, you got to leave a legacy. We're here for such a short period of time. Make your mark, do something worthwhile, build what you're proud of, and get up and shake yourself off. No one's coming to save you. You need to, you need to do it for yourself. And yeah, I have this year being, 2025 has been a really tough year, probably one of my hardest. We have been in a construction business that went into liquidation. We've lost a lot of things financially, emotionally. My mum's journey in the aged care system has also been incredibly difficult. My own health and emotions have also been hard. So, ending relationships, that shredding year that they talk about, there's been an enormous amount of that as well. So, but, you're a long time dead, so why not live the moment, get up and make it happen?
It's beautiful and born out of some of this adversity that this year is your new business. Tell us about Legacy Aged Care.
Yeah, so I guess that things happen in our lives that I guess it's all about those learnings. Sometimes in our life it's not failing forward, it's just failing and or not even failing, it's just trusting the process that things happen, but you don't really know why they've happened until you can reflect later on and you go, oh, that's why that happened. So when mum I'll put a caveat. I am a workaholic. So when mum's dementia started she was diagnosed really quickly. She started to decline incredibly fast. So she was diagnosed in the May. By the August, she could no longer drive. By the January, she needed to be in nursing home because she just didn't know who she was. Right. So it was incredibly fast. And in that time, I was working in our business 14, 15-hour days. I was also caring for my mum and I was massively burning out. Not only that, I was probably almost, going to have a major accident because you just work, 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 drive, 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 and not looking after my own health either. So, and the stresses were certainly showing. So, yeah, mum got a home care package. I had no idea what that meant. I couldn't find anyone to help me. And the people that I could find, we had a bit of a language barrier with that. And so, as opportunities created and I sought some guidance from whoever was going to guide me, I woke up one day after the business went into liquidation and thought, why can't I do that? Like, I love people. I love serving. I've firsthand got an experience about what is required. Let's just package all of my learnings from, running a $10 million business to having, at least, well, at some point we had about 700 staff to, fast forward to this year, when we had the electrical business, we had, 180 staff and I knew them all and I knew everything. So why not take all of those learnings, pile it together and create be a home care provider as a boutique one, because I actually care about people. And so that's sort of how I've got to this place. So all of the obstacles in my past weren't really obstacles. They were just great lessons and learning to get to where I am today. And I'm really grateful for that because you don't know what you don't know, do you know? So you just got to embrace it and shake it off, learn, move forward, because there's always a bigger picture. And I really do trust that the universe looks after me because it has my whole life. So legacy was born out of that. And I do want to leave a legacy, obviously when the time is for me to hang up the boots, that people really did feel cared, nurtured. Sure, it's a financial business, but my primary goal is to actually, we care for them. I want the elderly to be, empowered. They need a voice. So I might actually take on a bit of a politician's role. I seem to email the politicians all the time about their changes and clauses and the 32-year-old guy that's making all these decisions that probably never cared for an elderly person in his life. So, yeah, I think it's just stepping stones, Mez. Things always lead you to your higher power. You just got to trust it.
Wow, that is so true. My gosh, I love what you're saying. Legacy, that's even the name of the business. Trusting your higher power. These are all really important things. And I love what you're saying. Well, why can't I do that? And that's what I find delightful about you. that has been my experience of you over years and years of, oh, there's Elle doing her thing, and it's about, isn't it? It's just like, well, let's just get on with it. Let's
Yeah.
get this done. And this business is no exception. And it's tapping into your passions, your purpose, your values. It's encompassing every aspect, like you're saying. But tell me about your values. Why are values important?
Oh, Mez, like you've got to know within what your values are. Like you've really got to know it. You can't get through an entrepreneur, especially in the entrepreneur world, without really knowing what you value. Family. My world is my family. And I know that I've raised three amazing daughters that have also their own businesses, but also their strong values. But family, work, trust, honor, all of the things that are really important to you. And once you really identify them, you will start collecting your surrounding influences that also have similar values. And, people like yourself, Mez, like we've been in each other's lives and we might not see each other, but we know that, if things are needed or required, we can reach out. And you can only do things like that if you've got an alignment with the right people.
Yeah.
I'm forever checking in and making sure the people around my table are the right people. Because if not, I let them go, let them on their own journey. Values are, yeah, they're like a deal breaker for me. If we're not on the same page, yeah, it's okay to go.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a good differentiation. You're checking your table, you're checking your circle of influence. Are these still the right people for the next part of my journey, our journey together as a collective? And I think part of leadership, and you are clearly an amazing leader, I think you've got to know the difference about whether to stay there at that table or move to another table or pick up your table, because I think leadership takes courage. And I think leadership really has the power to influence at a huge level if it's used wisely with integrity, I mean, values, service, but I think it has to be used with great integrity. And it's interesting. Gosh, I was just suddenly thinking then, yes, Al is a politician. Well, wouldn't that be fascinating? I know you were saying you're emailing them, but I just suddenly thought, oh, let's stretch that a bit because it really,
Uh,
that's another group that
mm.
we could learn from integrity, values, and real connection and real passion and purpose. Gosh, that's a lot, but take what you will. What do
I
you
think, yeah, that's true. I guess on many levels, Mary, I feel that the elderly don't have a voice. They're sort of the lost souls because, a lot of them aren't valued because they don't vote, etc. A lot of them don't have family or their family lives interstate or overseas or whatever the circumstances. So, I feel like I can be their voice and advocate for what I can actually see happening. But also just something that I think is really important, Mary, is being an authentic leader. I think, with the way the world is changing, we have to rise. The authentic leader has to come to the front of fruition. Like the troubled, the traumatic leader, the bully, all of those old style leaderships, they don't work anymore. And
Yeah,
so, authentic leadership, it's our turn to be here to make a stamp that this is how it's okay. This is the direction of what's coming. And you can only be an authentic leader by having relevant coaches, like yourselves in your corner that can help you grow, can help you stretch, can help you navigate, the world that's ahead. And also being self aware of your own growth, that whole self checking in, what's working, what's not, constantly, because leadership is only as good as what you're feeding the mind and what you're practicing, you know, my
that's
perception, of course.
what was that last thing you just said?
Just my thoughts about my description of what I feel that is.
I think that's important what you're saying, because, I talk a lot about, well, no use being in business if you haven't got your mindset right. People go,
Mm.
what? But I've got this great idea. And I think what you're saying is undervalued, underrated, because you're certainly evidence that mindset is a powerful thing to help overcome adversity. When we fall over, and at the time when we fall over, I don't know about you, but I'm just like, this sucks. And look around, and you're right. I've thought a couple of times in my life, oh, I wish someone would come and save me from this moment. The reality is they don't. But,
Mm.
I think you're quite correct what you're saying. I think now is a time where it's demanding more and more of leaders to lead with true values, and one of those being integrity, like no other time in history, actually.
Yeah, 100%, Miss. Totally agree. And yeah, it's exciting. Really, it's empowering, it's authentic. You can be your true self, and in exchange, those of us that are exchanging service for financial, being authentic, there's so much more connection because you're being your true self. You're not none of this fake it till you make it BS. You're being authentic and delivering your leadership to the capacity that is evolving, and that's super exciting.
That's lovely. You've got, how old's your business as we go to recording today? How old is your legacy business?
Be about 6 months, I guess.
Wow. So what would some of your clients say about you, Elle?
Ah, I don't know. They talk to me. Well, I feel like they're my family, to be honest. Probably because I care a lot about them. Oh, look, they get excited. I've got a great team of support workers. They all know the clients, how they have their coffee. They turn up with the latte, the soy latte, the half shots, 3 shots, 5 shots, whatever it looks like. Sit down and have a cuppa. I think they'd be pretty chuffed that they've collected, legacy along their journey. We don't really do any advertising. Most of my clients have come from word of mouth or from people that I've known in the industry, in any of my industries that I've created. They follow on social media. I actually met a lady on Friday that I met in 2009. Um, and her husband remembered when I met them the other day. I remember you. You came over with that green glove. And I was like, yeah, that's right. So, if you make people, if you leave them better than you find them, they're going to remember you. If you show them that your values are true and authentic, when it's their turn to need a service that you're offering, they actually don't generally look at the money. They look at what you're offering, because that's the exchange. Yeah, I think my clients will be pretty happy they've got me. I'm very grateful to have them. That is for sure, and it'll grow.
That's fabulous, and we know that this whole system, and it's not just in this country, other countries,
Yeah,
is pretty broken.
yeah, certainly is.
How are you going to get through that? What's your plan?
How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's kind of my theory at the minute. The age system is definitely broken at the minute. They've rolled out this huge thing that's not going to work. Even the ministers said he knows it's not going to work. Um, Look, I'm not in control of any of that. I'm just navigating it and being the best that we can provide under the conditions and help the people that need it the most. That's the key, help others, and in turn it'll help you. Keep serving, keep making them feel amazing. The only difference is, Mez, we're all getting old. They just got there first,
Oh, yes, indeed. And, you know, is it a vertical learning curve at the moment?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So, how hard is it to navigate the system we have here?
Very.
So, what support do you have currently to help you? I mean, what is it? Health degree, accreditation, all these things that. Look, I only have an inkling of, I mean, having 20 years as a nurse, I know quite a bit about the health system, but this health system is something that I've been aware of for a long time. It's certainly very different, and dare I say it, to when I was nursing. But how do you navigate, have this vertical learning curve and keep on top of the changes? Are you well resourced, or I know you've got a
Oh,
circle of influence, but
yeah.
have you had to go beyond everything you've done before to get?
Oh, gosh, yeah. This has been the biggest learning, Mez, for sure. I am aligned with another company, Empower Home Care, which are amazing. I'm in alignment with them. They're also fantastic. And it's funny, we're very similar. And it's funny how, an old friend referred me to them, and, it's like sitting and watching or being in a cuppa of the same person. It's really, really good. I'm very blessed to have them on my team. And we're navigating it all at the same time. But of course, we're all educating. We're online, listening to all the webinars that the government is putting out there. Yeah, just doing our best and being honest. Telling the clients they haven't got this. We're still offering services, but sometimes other things are taking a bit longer. Just being totally transparent and honest. Look, things aren't working as fast as we'd like. The systems aren't up and running. But you'll get it. It's the paperwork side of things, not the physical service. So, yeah, and it's learning. Like, how exciting that we're in a world that we can have at our fingertips so much learning. Do you know? I
Yeah.
think that excites me the most because I know it, probably when I was in my early 30s, the last thing I would have thought would have been doing what I'm doing now. But each thing is a stepping stone to the greater place. And so embracing that.
Oh, lovely. It's just beautiful. I want to come back to your relationship with your mum because I know how important she is to you. I've had the privilege to meet her a long time ago. Well, I don't know how long. It was a long time ago, I think. Um, and I remember her being warm, loving, and very open. How much impact has your mum had on your life?
Oh, Bez. Yeah, mum's, look at that. I'm welling up already thinking about her. Mum is my world. She's my best friend. I tell her everything, and even, I'll see her this afternoon. I'll tell her about our chat today, Mez. You were at my 50th where mum was, opening letters that I'd written all my life. We've been a massive family of writing cards and letters to each other. Look at what mum's taught me. If I can be half a person that she has to my children and to my grandchildren that are on their way as well, I've done her proud. I believe that we get given the parents that we need to be the greater person for ourselves. And mum certainly has taught me so much, Mary. Like, mum is my rock. She knows, I miss her terribly. She has dementia, for those that don't follow my page. She has dementia. I've had to move her 5 times in 5 different nursing homes. She's been abused, she's been bashed, she's been drugged, she's been everything that you see on the media has happened to my mum. I've witnessed things that families should not witness. And I'm not talking about small companies, I'm talking about big companies. So to be able to be her voice and step in and get her moved is not easy either because they're not easy to find places. But mum is my world. I stand here today because mum loved unconditionally. She taught me so many lessons. It wasn't about the money, Mez. It was always about the love, the commitment, keep your word, you know, give back, more than you receive, give back, you
Yeah.
know, and that can come in so many levels, whether for me, it's service. But financially, our family has given lots of money to fundraisers and to charities. But giving back is super important service. And I think mum's just her heart. She was born in the war. Family, that's the biggest gift mum's given me was to really empower your family. And,
Mm.
you know, anyone that comes in my door is my family. They don't have to be blood. Being an only child, my close friends are my family. They're my chosen family. And, a quote from you, Maz, we're all connected by the golden thread. And that's really, really important. You don't choose your family, you choose your friends. But I've been super blessed to have three amazing daughters and a mum that's cared for me my whole life. And although she's just about, to pass on to the next chapter, whenever that is, she's given me a beautiful gift that will keep on giving.
Yeah, absolutely. And I imagine that your three gorgeous girls would say similar things about you. Am I right?
Oh, look, yeah, I think yeah, we're very blessed. We have a very close relationship. They are my best friends. We talk all the time about everything. We're very transparent about lots of topics. There's no topic that we can't talk about. Yeah, I know they're proud of me, as I am super proud of them and their resilience, because they've certainly had lots of resilient chapters as well. They're young from 22 to 29. They've had lots of challenges that they've risen above and faced, not only, health wise, emotional, financial, lots of learnings along the way. But they definitely would be proud of me. Yeah, as I am of
Oh,
them.
absolutely. Yes, yes. And it's true, you be proud of you. You're absolutely one awesome woman. Would you like to leave something special for our audience as we finish up today? A phrase or something, your
Oh,
beliefs, what you think's important for people at this time as we head into, well, we're close to another year, a massive year coming up. What would you say to people?
look, I think if you're an entrepreneur, and I'm sure most of the people listening today have an inkling of being an entrepreneur or want to be or are living it, it's not an easy journey. But know that you're making a difference and know that you're really there to make some change, get that ripple effect happening because I know with what I'm doing, it's just a drop in the ocean, but the ripple will continue for a very long time, affecting positive change. So when you're having, as an entrepreneur, it can be a bit lonely, it can be a bit up and down. So be okay with reaching out for help. Be okay to ask for guidance. Be okay that you don't need to know everything. And I think for me, that was a bit of a lesson. I think I got a bit in my head that I knew what I was doing, but I didn't, and I really love that I've reached a point in my life that asking for help is perfectly fine. It's not a sign of weakness. It's actually really important to keep asking and just keep finding. If you don't know the answer or you don't know if the person doesn't know it, just keep looking.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
for me that's been a really big lesson and allowing help. And it can be emotional, can be educational, a friend coming and making you dinner. If you just don't have the energy, if you're having one of those times, just let them let them help. Let them feel like they're making a difference to you because when you're giving so much, it is lovely to receive. So I guess, my closing note is it's okay to receive as well as give.
Yes. Yeah.
And, share the love, share the service. Because the more we give, the more we receive.
Well, you're certainly a great demonstration. I would think to everyone that comes in your path of just loving kindness, acceptance, being inclusive. You're
Mm.
just a tower of strength to a lot of people and deep inspiration, certainly to me as well. And I know this will be the same for people listening to this. Thank you so much I know your days are so busy. I appreciate you coming here and giving us your time and your inspiration. Thanks so much, Elle.
Thank you, Mary, for asking me. I mean, as we said, we've had a really long-term relationship. I'm excited about what's coming, obviously, but thank you so much. I really am very, very grateful for you inviting me. I hope I have shared something that will help others. But it's been a great time chatting with you, Mez, and I look forward to seeing you again. Maybe we'll share another bottle of champagne or two, if that's okay. But no, thanks, Mez, so much. And to all the audience, you're very blessed to have Mary in your corner. She is incredible. You're very, very blessed. You wouldn't get a nicer lady that can help you take your business to whichever level. She will help you with change. She will help you grow. And I think we're in a period of growth, authenticity, and having the right people around you is just so important. So thank you, Mary, from the bottom of my heart. Big hugs, lots of love to you and to your audience. Take care, Mez.
Thanks, Elle. Thank you for joining us on the richness of our lives. If today's conversation stirred something in you, I'd love to hear about it. Connect with me on social media, leave a review, or share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. And if you are ready to step into your own bold journey, join our vibrant Chair Squad. We meet weekly for coaching and connection. Until next time, continue to embrace the richness of your life. I'm Mary Scott, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.